Okay, for Michael, one more question you said, talking about whetstones. And because I know that I'm talking to different people on conversation, emails, messengers, whatever, but I know that each of you participates in multiple sharpening social media forums, whether it be Facebook group or forums, because you're a student of sharpening. Because I've been doing this for a long time. I know Steve, not a long time, but Michael, I know your name for years. And because you participate in all these, you have to understand that the sharpening started with the flat stone, and we started asking those questions in the sharpening forums when there were forums before we were participating with social media and making these videos this quick and like conversations. This body of knowledge has moved quickly, more quickly lately with the social media that it did at the beginning. And we are participating. We were asking those questions before. So we are the body of knowledge, Steve. So when we're talking about wicked edge, what I've done, and in particular, besides sharpening, is I've studied the application of those mediums, those plated mediums that you stand at a sink with the water running or with the bath. That's where I digressed from that because I couldn't do it well enough. Whatever stroke you did, that's why I started with the guided sharpener with wicked edge, which I've become very proficient with and knowledgeable about. But using this is nothing without the knowledge of applying a portion of that stone to a handle. Because that's what I'm doing, is trying to use those stones that y'all are talking about. And Michael, where you say, they say, and stuff like that, you have to understand, I believe you're mixing metaphors. You're looking at all this body of information, the same body that we all participate in, and you're trying to assimilate it for wicked edge. You get what I'm saying? The stones, we take the stones, it's not, but we cut it and we put it on a strip. Now I'm trying to figure out how to make that work here on a fixed knife with a fixed angle, guided sharpening system, finding the perfect clamping or the balanced clamping position, the sweet spot. It's very controlled and very intimate, and it's different, possibly, not necessarily, than the body of knowledge has in something like the knife sharpening enthusiast group that is everything from belts and plates and all kinds of stuff, and those anecdotal statements or whatever that come out that lead someone to say, they say, to do it a certain way. Well, that's a big body of knowledge, and you're trying to assimilate from all those different places. For a wicked edge, it's a stone. I use the stone how the stone needs to be used. Either I wet it by soaking it or I spritz it. And then I learned by doing it. And I use the strokes, the same strokes we spoke about before. Attacking the knife the same way, whether it's a diamond stone or a ceramic stone, and I see what I get, and I feel through the feedback, and I look with the scope, and I learn by doing it. And I use all those strokes with the whetstones, and I do it the same way. I use if I want to follow it, I don't usually follow with lapping film, because with whetstones you can go fine enough that you don't need the lapping film. And with whetstones, I'm sharpening. I'm not at the place in my collecting knowledge by doing it. This search that I've been doing since I started this group, and I've been doing with the whetstones, learning about it for years, I haven't got to the point yet where I know which stones are the better cutting stones and which stones for grit are the better polishing stones. And the blending of the two together is what gives you that aesthetic edge on the chef knives that I'm looking to learn how to do. And that's what I picked Tom Blodgett's brain, because he knows how, he's proficient in all the different aspects of sharpening, including guided sharpening and stones. So I'm trying to learn how to do it with Wicked Edge. So what they say, I don't know, Michael. I'm telling you what I know, and not to brag, but just to, I think it's probably a statement of fact, is that I have as much time using whetstones as probably anybody that sharpens with Wicked Edge that use whetstones. And I don't know to say other than I use them like any stone. The burr comes, I do the edge leading strokes as the finishing stroke that gets rid of the burr, and then I strop everything at least with a 4 micron followed by a 2 micron. And that gives me my sharpened edge. And I am working towards, with my knife collection, how I sharpen them in a group of 6 or 8 knives. And I've progressed to what I'm sharing with you is where I've gotten. And that is giving me very, very, very sharp knives that are a pleasure to use. And I'm trying other things to go further to see if I can get better. But that's where I am right now. Let me stop here. Thanks.